Hey Gateway Church, Pastor Mike here. And man, I don't know about you, but I am super excited for a new year, 2014. A new year to lead my family into a growing relationship with Jesus, a new year to lead Gateway Church into the next season of ministry. You know, at Gateway Church, our vision is serving together, transforming lives for Jesus. Together, you and I get to link arms and we get to serve together, seeing lives transformed by the power of Jesus Christ. Why? Man, because people are broken. People are broken. This hit really close to home for me this week when a 19-year-old young man was killed and involved in a hit and run. It was a botched robbery, and now a family is left without a son. And it hit really close to home because several of the students involved in this crime go to school with my daughter, and they all have siblings that go to school with my children. I don't know what hits close to your home, but I know that we have a world that's just full of brokenness and hopelessness and despair, people that desperately need to hear the love of Jesus. And we get to be on the healing end of that. You know, Isaiah chapter 61 verses 1 and 2 says this: "The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me, because the Lord has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives, and release from darkness for the prisoners, and recovery of sight for the blind, to release the oppressed, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor." Jesus came to unshackle us and unleash us so that by His Spirit we can point people to Him. See, I believe God is still in the business of changing lives, and you and I, together, we get to link arms and be a part of His work in our hurting world. The Gateway leadership team has been praying and seeking the Lord and asking the question, where do we need to go as a church? What are the next steps that we need to take as a church in order to unleash our church to be all that God wants us to be? And one of the steps that we believe God is leading us to take is to enter into a 2-year campaign called Unleashed. And this 2-year campaign is going to look a little bit different at both campuses. At the Parksburg campus, we are in a position where we have got to get out of debt. We have 2 mortgages totaling $3 million. And when you look at our budget at the Parksburg campus, almost 50% of our budget dollars goes just to pay our mortgage. Even our second mortgage alone is about $340,000. Do you know if we were to eliminate our second mortgage of $340,000, that equals $30,000 a year that we would be able to unleash and put into the ministry and the mission of our church. At our Elk Creek campus, we don't have any debt, and I'd like to keep it that way, but I want to be in a financial position that when God opens the door for us to be able to move into a permanent facility, we can move. And I want to do that in a way that we can move in with little or no debt at all. So why does all this matter? What's the big deal? Why do we need to pay off debt at our Parksburg campus? Why do we need to save for the future? We don't even know where we're going at our Elk Creek campus. Because for every single dollar that we unleash, it represents a life that is touched and transformed by Jesus. Let me ask you a serious question. Have you ever been in a situation where you see a need around you, but you're not in a position where you can really help them? Maybe financially you're not in a position where you can help them, but you want to? And you know that tension that you feel? Man, I've been there at different times in my life, and as a church, I don't ever want to be in a position where we can't move when God says move. That's why this is important, and that's why the time is now that we enter into this 2-year campaign called Unleashed. Recently I had an opportunity to sit down with several families from both of our campuses, and I asked them how Gateway Church has impacted their life. And I want you just to listen to their stories. Let's watch this together.
You're the God of the impossible.
Man, it's great to sit down with you today. Thanks for taking the time to answer some questions and share your story of how God has moved in your life at Gateway Church. So how long have you guys been coming to Gateway Church?
It's been since about the Christmas of 2004, I think, is when the girls and I started coming to Gateway.
14 months.
Yep, it was a year, October 2012.
And then really started coming regularly February, I think it was, of 2013, because it was right after my son was born. And pretty much came then and just kept coming every Sunday. As long as I was around, I was there.
You've been at Gateway through many stages of life. So how has Gateway encouraged you, helped you through all of these different stages of life?
Coming out of college, I was really anxious to get involved. And Gateway was the second church I visited. Being a church plant, we were meeting at Lanchester at the time, and I said, yeah, I'd like to get involved with the music if I can. Well, my first Sunday there was the last Sunday of their worship leader. So they said, great, hey, get involved. So we were pretty much, I think the next week we're up, I was up on stage helping. We had like a little MIDI box, boom box there. So for me, I was just excited to get involved and use the gifts that God gave me, and appreciated the founding pastor Dan kind of taking me under his wing and training me and believing in me and just giving me an opportunity.
And I would say at each stage that we've been in, we've had different people who we've been able to come alongside or kind of observe at a distance and really take in maybe how they were doing the next stage, to see how they're, implementing, what they're learning and how they're really bringing their love of God into whatever stage that they are in. So it's definitely been the people have been so encouraging. Yeah, exactly. The examples of the other people around us. So I wouldn't say that I love Gateway for the people. I love that the people at Gateway are lovers of God and other people.
How did God lead you to Gateway Church? Tell me a little bit about that.
God led me to Gateway through Bonnie Silliman and Michelle Jackson, because I went to a Girlfriend's Closet event.
Casey and Darby were best friends in second grade, and Casey Silliman invited Darby to Jesus' birthday party over in Lanchester. And so Candace, Darby, and I went.
And I had a table right next to their table, and we just sat there and chatted all day. And it was at the Parksburg campus, so I was asking them about the church and everything, because I had been looking for a long time.
You tell yours first.
Well, I was led to Gateway by you.
Okay.
So you have to go
Okay.
first.
And we enjoyed it. And then we went to the next week, which was kid stuff. And we really enjoyed that. And we've been coming ever since.
I was raised Catholic and had a difficult time growing up and getting through that as I got older, and not really feeling, God's love in that at all. I believed in God. I believed in Jesus. And I believed in talking to God and talking to Jesus. And I would do it on the back porch, or I was in the car, or I was in the wherever. I felt that was enough.
I knew that I wanted to find a church, but I was nervous about my ability to know when I was in the right church. So I wasn't really going anywhere. And she said, hey, we have a campus in Oxford. And I said, okay, well, maybe I'll come tomorrow.
I work at a retirement community, and one of my friends was upset over one of the residents who was dying. She came to me and she said, I don't know if she's going to go to heaven or not.
She tried praying with her, and the lady just wasn't receptive. And I was like, wow. And it weighed heavy on my shoulders. I'm like, could I answer that question for myself? And I'm like, no. So, there's a couple coworkers that have invited us to church, Chris Jackson and Ed Silliman. They've worked on us, and we just kept saying, I don't know.
Eventually, there was an Easter service, which John was preaching, and he struck my heart. He really brought it, put it in perspective, put it in real words, the way that he does. I felt the passion for what God had done for me, sending his son.
And then it came that one weekend, Ed was going to fill in for Pastor Mike, and we're like, let's try it. Let's see what
go.
it's all about. And I never thought in a million years that he would be ready, because he just didn't want any parts of it. And sure enough, he was receptive, and he's like, I think I'll try.
And that was the day I was saved. It was at Easter, and it was just amazing. And I haven't stopped coming since.
Wow, that's great. You guys have been at Gateway Church through various stages of the church's history over the last 15, 16 years. And how have you seen God's faithfulness through the different stages along the way through the years?
I just feel like God's really provided the people that we needed at just the right time for in terms of leadership for our church to take us to a different level, different direction, whatever. Obviously, God using Dan Udines to get the church started and did a fantastic job, and called him elsewhere, and brought up a guy from within.
We were part of Gateway whenever it was meeting at formerly Lanchester Christian School, and that church planting mentality is very different than when you have your own building. I think you really got a sense for the fact that the church was the people and not the place. So that's something that I think, Elk Creek campus still has going for it, for sure. And just to try to maintain that, that church isn't the place that you go, but it's the people.
Spiritually, what was your life like before coming to Gateway Church, and how has your life spiritually changed since being a part of Gateway Church?
I would say that before Gateway, my life was, my spiritual life was probably on life support. It was virtually, kind of just steady and not growing, and it wasn't very full.
For me, I grew up in a church family, Baptist, and pretty much once I graduated high school, I turned my back on it and never looked back. But, God was always still there. I always believed in God. Not like I, totally put God out of my life, but...
Since I've come to Gateway, it's got a heartbeat now, and it's growing, and I love it, and I don't ever want to not have it. It's the more that I'm there, the more I want to be there.
So it was just nice to get back to that and start to understand what being a true Christian is, walk with the Lord. So it's been a blessing for me.
It was not quote unquote spiritual. I was going along and saying I believed in God, and that was about it.
I went to Sunday school as a child. I went to youth group with friends, but it was just because that's what they were doing, or because my grandfather went to church. It wasn't because I was doing it for the right reasons.
I'm one of those people that is at Sunday service and in worship always, every day, tears are streaming down my face, because the songs that sing about what Jesus has done for me and so forth is just blows me away. I am still just in such awe of that. I can't even express it.
I just felt like there was a part of me that needed to grow in that area. And when he said that he would go, it was just a huge excitement in me.
And when he became saved,
what was that like?
there was a lot of praying going on before that. As well as, Naomi and I talked about it many, many times. I tried not to ever pressure him to come. And he always, when the girls were baptized, he was there, and he was very supportive all the time, but he was always in the background.
It's been a great path so far.
What have been some of the most encouraging things about Gateway Church for you?
Right away, when I first started coming, the most encouraging thing really was the people. The people were just amazing and continue to be.
We've joined Life Group. I'm part of the greeting ministry. I've helped with the women's ministry events, and just being part of that family.
Here was a committed group of people that were kind of moving the same direction, and you felt like you were a family. You know, we were involved in small. You know, our ministry was our small group, and we were very committed to the music ministry, and that was what we did.
Like I said, my past was Baptist, and you always had to go to church with your Sunday best clothes on, your tie, and
God took a really small group of hardworking people. Not really a whole lot of doctors and CEOs and lawyers in the mix, not big salaries, but people who were passionate and committed to what God was obviously doing.
Everyone is so equal, I guess, and nobody thinks that they're better than anybody else, and there's not any of this.
If you didn't have that, people kind of look down their nose, and I don't think it's anybody else's place to pass judgment. That's the Lord's. So that's what I like about it, is that nobody passes judgment on you. It's like one big family.
We didn't have close family. We didn't have anybody. We just dropped the kids off. So, now we've gotten some, we have some really good friends who, will take the kids or, will do things for us. It's just,
they're like family.
Yeah, it's awesome now that our church family is very much our family. So.
When you think about the future of Gateway Church, what excites you the most?
2 campuses now, right? From Lanchester School to 2 campuses, to the missions teams, the ability to
outreach is amazing.
Yeah, and I know it's just going to grow.
I'm excited about the kids ministry. We have some awesome kids workers, youth workers that are just killing it and giving so much of their time and energy. It's exciting to see all our kids are learning because of just the help that they're giving us as parents.
I am very excited to see lives changed because I've never really been a part of that, and I'm pretty much an introvert, so it's hard for me to know how to do that and be involved in that.
I'm excited because, I sit back and I see so many different areas that people have taken specific interests in. Simple things like the backpack program and the boxes, the shoe boxes for Christmas. I mean, this is affecting people everywhere, and like it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
So what encouragement would you give to maybe somebody who is new in their faith journey, maybe just started attending Gateway Church?
It's get involved,
Just to get involved. Keep coming and get involved.
I would just encourage them to always make it a point to go. Be there on Sunday, even when you don't feel like it, even when you think, oh, just this one time, I'll stay home, or this excuse or that excuse.
I think that, number one, they should be involved in something. Like, just find an area that you're interested in. And people think when you volunteer that it means, okay, you're in it forever, you never get out. But, there are things that you can do for one time or, once a month or, just come in and stuff envelopes or whatever the case may be.
I think a lot of people are sitting on the sidelines, maybe because they haven't been asked, but maybe it's because they haven't taken initiative either. Gateway's getting a little bit bigger. Do campuses, our leadership's maybe spread a little thin.
And then it just keeps going on and on and on. And you end up in a small group.
Maybe think outside the box. Just give it a try. And also getting connected with small groups. Even if it's, hey, let's have all of us just get together a couple times.
You don't know until you try it. I didn't. And it makes a huge difference.
And then you meet amazing people. And you develop friendships that you've never had before.
And I think that goes not just for Sunday morning, but for other events and other times that you're going to be around that group of people that you're going to influence and they're going to influence you, and you just have that opportunity to do that.
So Gateway Church, here's what we're asking you to do. The first thing we want you to do is pray. I want you to ask God, God, what part would you want me, our family, to play in this Unleashed campaign? Get your kids involved. Pray together as a family. The second thing that we're asking you to do is to consider making a monthly pledge over the next 2 years over and above your regular giving to Gateway Church. Now I want to remind you, 100% of the money pledged at the Parksburg campus will go towards reducing the debt, so that 100% of that money can be slid over into the mission and the ministry of our church. At Elk Creek campus, 100% of the money pledged will go towards saving for a future permanent location. So over the next couple of weeks, we're going to explain in greater detail why we believe now is the time for us as a church to partner together in this Unleashed campaign. And then on January 27th, we're gonna join together on a Commitment Sunday, celebrating what God has done and will do as we partner together, as we serve together, transforming lives for Jesus. So visit gatewayunleashed.com, and on that website you'll be able to make a monthly pledge, and you'll also be able to see some more videos and content, also be able to track the progress of this Unleashed campaign. Thank you so much for watching, and thanks so much for partnering with Gateway Church.
The God of the impossible. You're the God.